Welcome back to the Trans Talk Hub podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa, alongside Braxton.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome, as always. And today we're going to talk about trans talents, more specifically, music. We are both two musicians. Um, I personally do like an EDM pop kind of vibe. Um, and I do remixes. I have originals. I have a whole album out right now. It's from like my old name before I went over to Alyssa, which is now what my EDM name is. But prior to that, I was DJ Kleptic. So one of the songs or music videos, rather, should I say, that we're going to watch today has a artist that I featured on that. She recorded the music video 100% from her end in California and sent it over to me. And yeah, we're gonna watch that, and then maybe take a look at one of my remixes. But Brax, you want to talk about your music and stuff like that? Like, what do you do? And I don't know. We can kind of also talk about what got us into music,
Yeah,
leaving with you, and then we'll double back to me because I didn't go into that part.
yeah. So as an artist, I typically make more like R&B pop type stuff. I definitely try not to limit myself. Here recently, I've kind of decided that I think my next venture I want to go on is making like at least like a country track and maybe venture into like a country album eventually. You don't really see any trans men doing country music, so I think that'd be kind of cool to break into that. Plus, I'm from Texas, baby, so it's time to get back to the roots. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've been into music my whole life. I think that I've had a lot of influence from all over. I think music has always just been a big thing in my family, as is. Like, I had uncles that would listen to like, heavy metal and hard rock and things like that. And then, my mom was more of like the 80s, 90s kind of vibe. And my grandparents on both sides were really into like the old school, like country, the old Western type stuff. And I don't know, I don't have really like any boundaries when it comes to music. I myself am a huge like EDM kid. I love EDM. I mean, wait, where's it? I've got my like little Lost Lands thing over here, so like music festivals are my thing. So that's, when I met you, I was like, dude, that's so sick. Like, that's crazy that like you make EDM remixes. I love EDM. I do like DJ from time to time, not a whole lot, definitely amateur, emphasis on amateur. I've got like a little deck that I mess around with every once in a while, but I'm actually in school right now for audio production. I graduate this next month, which is crazy. And the whole reason I even went to school was because I wanted to, master the craft and learn how to produce better and understand all the things that I was doing. And plus, sound has just always been very fascinating to me. So, but yeah, I've been singing since I was little bitty. I think the first time that it was, brought to anybody's attention that I could sing, I was obsessed with Shania Twain as a young child. And I was probably, I don't know, 3, 4 years old. And we had a VHS tape that was like all of Shania Twain's like music videos and stuff. And I wanted to listen to it, and I didn't know how else to tell my grandmother that I wanted to listen to this besides singing, ironically enough, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." And I sang that to her, and she was like, "Huh, that's crazy. Like that actually like sounded pretty good for a 4-year-old at the time." And so she just kind of always fostered my abilities, and always wanted me to pursue that. And without her, I probably wouldn't have, to be honest. So like, shout out to Mammy, love you. And she put me in vocal lessons when I was like 9 years old, and I did a lot of like performing around town, and would do like recitals every year. We would do like the parade every year in my hometown and things like that. And it just kind of like sparked this huge interest in it. It kind of just like became my whole identity, really. Now I sing all the time, constantly. I don't even know that I'm doing it, and it's just one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my favorite things about myself. So I decided that I really want to like pursue that and do something with it one of these days, whether it's me behind the mic and me the face and me being the artist, or it's just me producing the shit. Either way, I don't care. I just know that I want to do music for the rest of my life. So it's cool that we kind of get to share that. Like, we share a lot of other things too that are very similar, but that one is something that's really close to my heart. And that means a lot to me. So it's really cool that like I get to share that with one of my best friends.
Absolutely. No, that's an awesome journey into, getting into like the music kind of entry, like
Hmm.
singing at an early age and things like that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. I mean, for me, I think it's a little bit different. I mean, I didn't really get into music per se until I was like a teenager, I would say. I
Hmm.
think maybe when I was around, I want to say maybe 14.
Okay.
14, I got into a rock band. I was
Sick.
playing drums. I played drums for 4 years.
Sick.
It was like a heavy metal style band, and yeah, we did that for like 3 to 4 years. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I did all like the producing or whatever, like as far as
Hmm.
like the mixing and mastering and all that kind of stuff. I was always good on that end, always have been. And I think that's ultimately what drove me into EDM because I knew like, okay, well, there's a lot that goes into EDM.
Hmm.
I can technically do it all on my own. I don't need like a full band for it. I don't
Correct.
need a whole production. I am the production. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know, and I feel like you have a lot more freedom of expression. When I was, being the drummer for a band, my input was kind of not as much as it is now. When you're doing
Sure.
your own solo stuff, you have a lot more flexibility. And I don't know, it's just a lot. I don't know, it's just a cooler experience. So I think I got into doing like EDM in like my early to mid 20s, I think.
Okay.
I was DJ Ecliptic for a little while, pre-transition. And then of course, now I'm going as Lyssa, Lyssa. Um, I'm sure a lot of people can put that together why I chose that.
Sure.
And I just couldn't think of a good EDM name, and I was like, I don't know, Lyssa just sounds like it would work.
Yeah.
So
They
why
rock.
not? And then I, got a badass music. I mean, like a logo designer, to put me together a logo, which we'll see, a little bit into the
The logo's
podcast.
sick. The logo's sick as fuck. I love your
Thank
logo.
you.
Of course.
I, I decided to work, the trans aspect in it just because, I feel like I know there's trans musicians out there,
Hmm.
but I feel like, you know, the more that's kind of something that I feel like it is okay to let be more known. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because like within music, it's a expression anyway. And so like
Correct.
some of that's going to come through your music and your writing and all of these different things. Some of that's going to come from a personal place. And what more sense would it make than to come from places such as that?
Right. Of course.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of my journey with that. Before that, I will say I tried rap for a little bit. I did. I was a part of like a like it was like an idol thing, like
Hmm.
not official American Idol, but it was like a local idol thing.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
placed like eighth out of like 16. So it's like, I
Okay.
mean, I didn't place at the bottom,
There you
but
go.
and I think ultimately the reason why I didn't go higher, and one of the judges told me, was mainly because the other ones just didn't like rap music. And
Yeah.
she did, and she voted for me, but the other ones decided no. So, and, with me transitioning, I'm definitely not going to rap just because I'm not fully comfortable with my
I
voice.
think that'd be sick, honestly. And I
But
get that. I get that.
with voice surgery next year on the horizon, depending on what that voice is, maybe I'll
Mhm.
get back into supplying my own vocals for my EDM, or mixing in like a rap element into it, or whatever it is. I'm always trying to like branch out. I say that I want to do like EDM pop and stuff like that, but I definitely don't mind merging like some rap elements to it either.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I did the rap thing too for a little bit. And I can write some bars. I can't freestyle to save my life, but I can definitely write some pretty fire bars. But there's quite a few trans women that are in the rap scene, and they're pretty sick, honestly. Like, I think a lot of them probably would not be the biggest fans of you and I, just based on opinion, But regardless, like I can still respect their talents, and they are. I mean, some of their shit goes real hard. Like it is crazy, and it's kind of cool that it's a trans woman. You're like, hell yeah, like go the fuck out. Like I don't care that we don't agree on political shit or whatever. Like you're spitting right now. That's insane. Like that's cool. And like honestly, I feel like there are a lot of trans musicians out there for sure. There's just not a lot of well-known trans musicians, and I would love to see that change here in the next few years. I would love to see more of a push on like we're seeing a lot more like trans actors and things along those lines, and people in the media and like TV, film, that type of stuff. But they don't get the same push in the music realm, and I would really love to see that kind of blossom a little bit more here soon, hopefully, because there's so many
Same.
trans musicians that are so talented and deserve to have their shit put out there. So hopefully we
Absolutely.
see that soon.
The like more popular ones, it's kind of, for me, it's hard to name any.
Yeah,
Like if I had to name anyone, the only one I can think right off the top of my head is Kim Petras.
sure. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, but Kim Petras is an absolute like icon in
absolutely.
like the pop world as a trans woman.
Yep.
I believe that she got like her surgeries and all that stuff from a very early age. I
Yeah,
watched like a little
yeah,
documentary or whatever on her. Really amazing story. But I mean, other than Kim Petras, I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head. So,
yeah.
the better representation we get from more trans musicians, the better. I mean, a lot of us are really talented, really creative. So it's like, I would love to see it.
Yeah, there is one that I'll plug just in case anybody wants to check them out. But their name they go by Damage, and they're on TikTok. And dude, she's like, I don't want to get too crazy with this, right? Because it's not about the political side or anything. I think that a lot of like people that would enjoy consuming our content would probably have an issue with them just because they're not the most feminine presenting trans woman out there. Scratch that. Who gives a shit about that? If you just listen to their music and the bars that they drop and their cadence and the fact that they write all this and do all this by themselves, it's really good. They're really, really talented. I don't even care that we probably view things different. Like they're really talented. So I think you should probably check them out. But again, yeah, it's the same thing. Like there's not a lot I can think of that I can name. And that's, I don't know. I feel like that's really unfortunate because there's so many really, really talented trans musicians out there.
For sure. Yeah. Hopefully that list continues to grow. And hopefully, people listening to the podcast, hopefully, all of y'all out there enjoyed the music that we're going to share with you today.
Hope so.
We put a lot of time and effort into this. So it would be nice to, get some good feedback and, see where everyone is at with it. Um, I guess if you want, we'll get right into it.
Let's go.
You've never seen this music video because I've never
I have
shared it with
not.
you.
I have
Yeah,
not.
you
I'm
may have
so
heard the
excited.
song.
Probably.
But yeah, so I'm gonna talk a little bit while I'm pulling everything up.
Yep.
But ultimately, this is a song that I did with Olya. She is from Ukraine. I believe we worked on this just shortly after the like COVID and all of that stuff.
Okay.
And she had like moved to California and all of that. So I found her on like Fiverr or whatever. It's a good place
Okay.
to find
Yeah.
musicians. If anyone, is looking for a vocalist, I definitely recommend Fiverr for that. So I paid her, I think like 125, 150 to hop on this song. I had already wrote the song and did the instrumental and all that stuff. So if you're ready, I'm ready. We'll get into it. I think it's a nice little
I'm so excited.
music video that she put together.
Let's do it.
Panic attack. I call you up 2 a.m. and you don't think twice to try to my dreary flat, to my teary mess. No, I'm not the girl you deserve, girl you deserve. Cause deep down in my guts, I just feel like I'm no worth attention and your love. I've caused you so much hurt, so I'm not really the girl you deserve. All my demons have fled, as will I here and there, with my head on your chest. And I wish this will last, and I want you so bad. Yet each time we have sex, I start pushing you back. I try to be the girl you deserve, girl you deserve. Deep down in my guts, I just feel like I'm no worth attention in your life. I keep damaging your trust. I might never be her, the girl you deserve. Wasted so much much time, wasted so much time. Maybe I just need already mine. Be the girl you deserve, girl you deserve. But deep down in my guts, I still feel like I'm not worth your attention and your love. You never gave me up. I ever be her, the girl you deserve. Wasted so much time. Wasted so much time. Girl, you deserve. Wasted so much time. Girl, you deserve.
Hell yeah, that's sick. When did this come out?
So this came out, well, it doesn't have a selective date, but 1 year ago. So really, it
Crazy.
wasn't that long ago that I was, October 2nd of 2022. So
Okay.
yeah, literally 2 years ago. Yeah.
That's crazy. So my question is, the beat is solid. I love the beat. Absolutely love the beat. She has like got her whole own like vibe to it. I love it. It's crazy that you just paid this lady like $125 and then did she write this like the lyrics and stuff to it?
No, I had given her all of that.
Really?
All I did is just basically have the beat. I had the lyrics. I basically sent her to it. I gave her like a reference track of kind of how I wanted it to sound, like what my vision was for it. And she switched it up a little bit. And I have to say too that like with all of that said and done, she is a perfectionist because
Yeah.
I think the second version that she sent to me, I thought was great. And she said, nope, scrap it. I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I messed up on this
Yeah.
one little part. I want to fix that. It's driving me crazy. And so she sent it to me and, that's what we have now. But it was so cool to be able to work with her, for this song. And I think honestly, you can tell that like, and I figured maybe people would get it that me putting a song out called Girl You Deserve.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's coming from a woman, right?
Sure.
But like at the time I wasn't transitioning. So
That
it's
was
like,
gonna be my next point. That's why I asked that because I was curious because it's very like you had said something about like when we're talking about music and things and when we're writing music. I mean, it's typically a form of self-expression. It's getting things out in a way that you can't just like talk about, right? It's just a different
right.
form of expressing your feelings, your emotions, who you are as a person. So I think that like adds another layer to it that's really, really cool because it does show Alyssa, like, it's that desire, even though you weren't, transitioning quite yet, that was still there, that was in there, right? And when you listen to the words and it's just, I don't know, it just really is encompassing of who you are as a person, right? And it's pretty neat to see that come to life like that. That's why I love music.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we did change like a few words because certain things she wasn't like used to saying. Like,
Well, you
if
can
you
tell that
notice,
she's from the Ukraine, that she's like from somewhere else. Like you can definitely
yeah.
tell.
Well, if you notice, like there was a part that said like my dreary flat. I wouldn't call an apartment a flat,
Right.
but that's a word that she uses to describe like an
Right.
apartment.
Right.
So we did some exchanges within the lyrics to make it work for her. Because I said, I'm free for like interpretation or however you feel is going to be best for you. And like, however you sing, I'm just trying to paint the image of what the song is about. And, but yeah, and that's also why I wanted to play this song specifically, not only because it had a really cool music video to it, but, or well put together music video. But the thing is that, yeah, this was a time that like, it was kind of like my, hey, I'm telling you without telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little sneaky,
yeah.
My buyout was, she's a woman singer. Like, of course it makes sense that she's saying all these things.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was my buyout. It was like, well, hey, look, I just did the beat and this, that, and the other. At the time, I said I didn't write the lyrics because I didn't want them to think that like I had something going on.
Sure.
But of course, we did collaborate on like multiple portions within the song. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. What when you're producing, like when you're making the beat and stuff, are you using like more of like a MIDI controller? Like what is your process when you're creating a beat? I'm curious because now that I've heard this and we're
Yeah,
getting into this, I'm like, hey, I do vocals. That's kind of
exactly.
my whole
I do
thing.
use the MIDI controller.
Okay, tight. Me too.
I believe it's like a 49 key. Yeah.
Lucky. That's what I need. Mine's a little tiny baby.
Yeah. I got the 49 key. I can't think of the brand right now. I think it starts with an A.
Okay.
Yeah, Akai.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yeah, it's like a Akai 49 key MIDI.
Very nice.
And then I
Oh, yeah.
use FL Studio to do like the main production, and then if I'm working with vocals, I move over to Mixcraft. It's
Very
not
nice.
well known DAW, but like at the same time, I don't know, it's classic. I know it in and
Sure.
out. I know
Yeah.
it as good as somebody else would know Pro Tools or something like that.
Right. Yeah, because
I
Pro
will
Tools
never
is typically
those
what I
upwards
use.
because I don't understand it like I know Mixcraft. I know
Yeah.
Mixcraft from top to bottom. I could probably literally work for him at this point. And matter of fact, I actually have a lifetime license with them because I got in
Nice.
with them when they were like Mixcraft 3 or something
Okay.
like that. And now they're like Mixcraft 11 or something like
Yeah.
that. I have a
Yeah.
lifetime membership to them.
That's awesome.
As I bought in early, there was like a time where if you buy in now, you get lifetime.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's sick. We'll have to work on a little collab.
Absolutely, I'm
Come up
down
with
for
something.
sure. Especially now that I'm getting back into it and kind of doing my own thing as
And
Alyssa.
I'm so happy that you're getting back because my thing is that it's hard to keep momentum especially when you're like an independent artist and you're doing things on your own. Super hard to keep momentum. So having people that you're close to in your life that are also into the music thing, that also want to make music, like it helps like inspire things, and then you can collaborate and work off each other. Then there's just like a different sort of accountability. Like it's really easy for me to just set my project to the side and nobody's going to say anything about it because it's my own personal project, but we're working on something together. It's like, hey, did you get those vocals done? Hey, I need these files. Hey, you have the beat, whatever it is. So that's really neat. I'm super excited to see like what this next phase brings us, because obviously like the podcast is a lot of fun and I love doing this every week. It's so much fun, but it'll be really cool to start like branching out into other areas as well and working together on stuff like that.
Absolutely. So I guess if you're cool with it, then I'll go ahead and move on to the remixes here, and then I'll
Let's
play a
do
little
it.
sample, and then we'll get over to whatever you want to share on your end
Let's do it.
with your side of the music.
Absolutely.
So now of course we're getting into the remixes. This was my first. I want to preface my first remix ever, and it was actually my most popular, which is crazy to me, because I didn't know how the reaction would be. I just tried something and it worked.
Yeah.
Which I guess is mostly what people do with music.
That's
But,
how it goes. Yeah. That's the whole name of the game.
but yeah, this is a Jesse Murph song that I ended up doing a remix for. I did remix this, so hopefully, we don't get strikes or anything, because it is original, it's,
Right.
their song, but at the same time, I did remix it. But let me see you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
We're good.
I just want to make sure this isn't like incredibly loud. All right, here we go.
I would have loved you, would have stayed up all night. I could have loved you for the rest of your life. Would have taken the cocaine off your lips, we talk about do fun and fist. I would have loved you. Woke up at the bottom, I'm up at the bottom, baby. Went through hell and back for you, and this how you were, baby. We're two and two together, you sound motherfucking crazy. Switch that back to back, and now you with you pushing daisies. You fucking hate it. And when you walk this road alone, feeling sorry, feeling low. You know I'll be back home. I would love.
Okay.
I just look at you sideways. Break it the fuck in my driveway. You work the window when open. Yeah. So when you act this road There's no one far beside you. Oh, I would love you. Would have stayed up all night. I could love you for the rest of your life. Would have taken the cocaine off your lips. Get that Bible from your fist. I would love you. I would love you. I would love you. I would love
Hell yeah, that's giving me like 2016 rave vibes. The like real like airy synth type vibe. Like I loved that shit in or like 2016. Like that's like everything you like you would hear at a festival, you know? So that's awesome. Hell yeah, I love it. And her
Nice. I
vocals are
appreciate
amazing.
that. I mean, hey, I'd love to go to a festival and do remixes and all kinds of stuff.
Hell
And,
yeah.
you know, honestly, I do think I strive in that more pop side of everything. You know, like with literally both of the ones we listened to were definitely more
Pop, for sure.
related.
For
I
sure.
mean, I'm not gonna play the whole thing here, but I do have one on here that maybe is a little bit more, I guess. Let me find one. Let's see. I don't know. Both of these are pop. I feel like this one has a little bit. I don't know. Let me share this. I feel like this one has a little bit more of the EDM aspect to it.
Okay. I mean, EDM is so there's so many different genres that fall into EDM, right? Like you've got your more pop, like mainstream type stuff, like we were talking like Chainsmokers, Marshmello, that type of stuff. And then you've got like your more like dubstep, wubby, nasty shit like Subtronics and Excision and things like that.
I don't typically do stuff like that, but yeah, this is going from the song that we listened to into the other song that's on this album that I have out. We're only going to listen to a sample just to kind of get this vibe, but here we go.
Sure.
We couldn't find a way till we crashed like waves on the rocks unseen. Were they always waiting there? Trust seemed lost in lines that crossed, but somewhere on the horizon, from the glimmer rose a prayer. Our hearts confused by the darkness, longing for the dawn. A distant flame, a burning memory, a fleeting beacon in the night to call us home.
So that's just a sample.
Still
I mean,
pop.
I guess it's just more like I don't know, maybe not as much EDM as I'm thinking, but it still has that like electronic aspect.
Yeah.
To it. It's not just 100% pop. It still has that inkling of electronicness to it, I guess.
Yeah. Still, like, you're definitely pop is definitely your thing. I can tell, which is sick. I mean, pop is what everybody listens to. It's very, very popular, right? Why we call it pop. So that's interesting. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna focus on. I mean, I do want to add more of that actual EDM aspect, so I'm working on that. I think one of the songs that I'm going to put like on like my EP that comes out officially as Alyssa, or Alyssa rather. I mean,
right.
I think that one's gonna have one. There's a song called "I'm Alive," and if you want, I will actually pull that up, and you'll get to hear the very early
exclusive shit here, friends.
Exactly.
Exclusive shit.
It definitely has like, I don't know. I don't know if I would really say like a drop, but I don't know. It has like that. I'm pretty sure that the bass line that I borrowed from this, like for this, was like some of the stuff that I do work off of like sample packs, but
Sure.
a lot, like if I'm working with actual piano, I'm typically actually doing the piano stuff.
Right.
But like for bass lines, I'll pull like a certain bass sound and then I'll work off of that. And I
Right.
did that for this one. So this is just like a sample of what I'm talking about. And it's by no means like fully done per se, because it is just a sample. But let me make sure that the audio is sharing, and then we'll get into this one. Then you can let me know your thoughts.
Hell yeah. I'm ready to critique.
Absolutely.
I like it. I definitely want to see you dive into some of the drops. Drops are hard. Drops for whatever reason. Like for me, I've I've made a couple of things that are, remixes, more EDM type stuff, and they're great up until I get to the drop. And then I'm like, what do I do? Like how do I make this flow well and like go into the drop and like where I don't know. It's just so hard to get that really crisp. But that's like the main thing with like EDM is that a lot of it is like you are waiting for that drop. I'm definitely not a very like trance, for example. Trance is like not my thing. It just kind of it builds up and builds up and builds up and then there's right back to the line, and it like for some people that's their jam and that's fine. But I think what really gets people is like that like to the chest like oh shit, like oh damn that hit. And that's what you're looking for. So maybe we could even work on that together, and kind of learn it together and piece it together since that's kind of something that both of us need to hone in on. It's just so hard to get that down right. I mean, granted,
Right.
I listen to a lot of people who like the drop is their thing, right? And they have like beyond mastered that craft, like Subtronics is one that I bring up a lot. His shit, Jesse, is the most incredible producer I've probably ever experienced in my life. And it's just so solid, and it really does hit you, and like you get that bass face, you're like, ugh, that's nasty. So I would love to hear that in some of your shit, because you can still keep it poppy, you can keep it pop for sure.
Yeah, I think that's where I kind of struggle a bit,
Same.
because I feel like the pop is so like ingrained into me
Mm-hmm.
that it's hard to like, because you can tell I like tried to dip into the electronic
Mhm.
side a little bit, because I don't know if you heard like the riser
Yeah.
type sound of
Yep.
you, because I seen your face, you were like, is this it? Is
I
this
was
it?
waiting.
And
Yes,
then
exactly.
it just didn't happen the way you thought it was. It went back to the kind of the slower, but it's cool too, because like on that one I'm using like authentic drums, which I'm sure you could hear.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
have like a really good like sound pack where I can link it to the keys and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean I like where that one's going, because the lyrics are already done for that song. and I'm still trying to keep it within that, but also kind of, I don't know, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I
So I
think
don't
like
know.
you've got the real solid like kick on one, snare on three. That's a
Yeah,
pretty standard format, that that's very, very EDM. That's like it's so easily identifiable, right? Like that's like something that like I think all of my favorite tracks still follow that same like pattern, You got that shit down pat. Like I'm always like I'm hungry for that snare. You want that snare to be real like snappy and shit. You've got that shit. It's going down for sure. I just like you said, that riser started hitting. I was like, okay, hell yeah, hell yeah. And then it's like, oh, okay, all right, we're back to the melody, which is chill. It's cool. And then maybe that's just my preference. I'm really big into the nasty dubby wubby shit. So that helps.
right, for sure.
Um, sorry, getting a
Yeah,
text message.
I think maybe like for me, maybe I need to stick with the mainly pop stuff. Maybe that's my thing, and maybe I'm trying to get too far out of that, and who knows, that might could like not be the way for me. So I don't know, maybe I need to reevaluate before I put some songs on the EP. I need to just kind of, I don't know. I think honestly I need feedback. Like, does the pop stuff really hit, and is that seemingly what I'm best at, or should I at least dip my toe in like to the actual EDM side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever anything wrong with venturing out, trying other things. And it's not to say that I don't think that pop would just be like your like don't limit yourself to pop by any means, especially because I can tell that you like want to branch out and try other things. It just takes time. I mean, I've been trying to master like getting a drop right for years and I still have not got it right. So it just takes time, and maybe like us getting to work on this together will kind of help with that. We can ping off of each other, and like I'm always like my mom kind of made me this way. She's very like she is my biggest fan, but also like my hardest critic, right? And she is so blatantly honest about things, and I love that about her because it's taught me to be welcome to that, and invite in the criticisms and the as long as it's constructive, right? You're not just being shitty about it, but it's because we want to see, like the things that you're passionate about. Of course, you want them to be good, and so that feedback is important. So I'm always down to sit in on a session and help out and give some feedback and on all of that stuff because I'm pretty picky about things, and I think that's one thing that I'm grateful for, like that, going to school, because it's taught me to. I've done so many like ear training classes and just things like that, and just like I know what I'm listening for and what people buy into and things like that. So I'm always down to give feedback. Not saying that it's perfect by any means. I haven't had like some big smash hit or anything, so it's not that I've got all the credibility in the world. But your foundation is incredibly solid. Like you definitely understand the structure and what it needs to sound like, and building it all together. Like you've made full on tracks that bang, they're jams for sure. So, I'm excited to see what you come out with, especially now that you're getting back into it for the first time in a little bit. I'm excited to see what you do with it. You've got a solid foundation, so I think that you could do all of it. It's just gonna take a little time.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate it, and I look forward to working together in like an actual studio environment, and
Oh yeah.
seeing what we can do, because I really do want to get into it within this next year.
Mhm.
uh, I want to see where I can take it, because like when you're passionate about this, you want to see something out of it, and I just
Of
haven't
course.
seen enough. Like that song with Oya, I feel like that could lead the charts if it had the right marketing.
Sure.
Like, I mean, and who knows? Like I said, and I do want to preface, because I'm sure some people were cringing really hard when I said like, oh, this has an EDM to it. Someone probably was listening and was like, ooh, EDM, what? You know what I mean? So I want to apologize for that. But in my mind, it's like still got the electronic vibe. I think that's what I mean. Is it like resonated a little bit? So I want
Yeah.
to preface that, because I'm sure the whole EDM community just cringed at both times I said
Well,
that.
like I said, EDM has. It's not just. Well, I think that people have come to conflate that with the dubstep, the wah 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 wah, that type of stuff. That's not always the case. Like EDM has, there's so many different avenues in EDM. There's so many different subgenres that go into that. So it's not to say that it's not EDM at all. That you feel, like I said, you've got like those airy synthesizers and things like that are going on that are very much so like very like iconic, like 2014 to 2016 type. You'd hear it at a music festival kind of thing. So, I mean, I would just stand in that shit proudly, own it.
Absolutely. Well, how about you go into your music and let's talk
Is
about
it that
your
time?
music.
Is that time already? All right, hell
I'm
yeah, let's do it.
excited.
I don't have a whole lot that I've put out. I do have way too many projects in, Logic, Pro Tools, where you have it. There's a lot of them that are like unfinished, a lot of things that I have started on and haven't really like, they just get pushed to the side, have a lot of stuff going on in life. But this last year, I was finally able to dedicate for the first time to actually making something of the music that I've been working on essentially my whole life. I started writing this track in 2020, like in the midst of all the COVID shit. I finished like the verse and the chorus, and then I sat on it for like 2 years and didn't do anything with it. I moved out to Colorado, got back into like producing and stuff with one of my buddies that I lived with, and got a little more passionate about it. And I finally sat and like finished the second verse, and it all just kind of came together. And I was like, oh shit, like this is actually pretty good. Is the first thing that I was like incredibly confident about. And it's crazy because when I was trying to write, I sat down. I was working at this hotel. It was really boring. It was like super late night, like 3 to 11. Everybody's already checked in, so there was really nothing to do. So I would sit in the back and I'd like pull up beats and I would just listen to shit. And I started writing this song and I was getting frustrated with myself because it was like everything I wrote, I was like, this is trash. This is like, what am I doing? Why am I trying to convince myself that I'm some sort of artist of some sort? I'm not. Like, I can't even sit here and write something. Like, I don't even know what to write. I was just really hard on myself. And one of my friends called me and she was like, well, write about that. Write about you struggling with that. Like, and I was telling her, like, I just feel like an imposter. Like, I'm really suffering from imposter syndrome right now. And it's frustrating the shit out of me. She's like, write about that. Use that. I was like, okay, shit. All right, I got you. And it just started flowing and it was crazy. And like I said, it was only the first verse and, the first chorus or whatever. But even that was enough to be like, okay, all right. I've actually got this. Like, I need to chill. I need to be a little easier on myself. I can write something that's pretty good, and I showed my mom and I showed my brother. And I remember the first time I showed my mom, and it was like to some YouTube beat at that point. It didn't have its own production or anything. And it was just that first verse and the chorus. And I sang it to her and let her hear it. And she just started crying. And she was like, this is really good. And it's something that, what did she say? Like, essentially she was saying like, it's something that everybody experiences. Like, people can really relate to what you're saying in this. Like, I relate to it. Like, and when I'm listening to you sing this, I'm thinking about all the things in my life that make me feel that way. And I was like, that is exactly what I want to do as an artist, is connect with people. And like, that's just my whole thing as a person in general, right? I love connecting with people and just sharing experiences and showing people that you're not alone and that we all experience the same thing and that, you shouldn't be so hard on it. And granted, I preach these things. I don't always practice them. I am a human being after all. But yeah, so that's kind of how this song came to be. And then I linked up with this guy. I'm going to plug his stuff real quick. His name is Akash Hans. Definitely check him out. This man is so incredibly talented. He is just the most insane videographer that I've ever like personally had the pleasure of knowing. He's done so many different projects. You can find him on YouTube. But yeah, he's great. And I hit him up and he was like, dude, I love this song. I love what you're doing. I definitely want to like be a part of this project. And then just to get it to, to get it produced and stuff was a crazy thing. Like, I met this guy on TikTok, of all places, which is how you and I met. Like, TikTok there's pros and cons, right? And like, this is kind of like proof to that. But he had like posted some video and he was like, I'm looking for people to work with. And I was like, well, shit, I have this song that I need put together. So let me reach out to this man, and we did a FaceTime call and I kind of told him my story and the feeling behind the song and where the song came from. And he's like, dude, I definitely want to work on this. Like, I 100% want to work on this with you. So I flew out from Denver to Dallas. We spent like 3 days, 8 hours a day in his studio, just busting this thing out. And just to preface, at the end of the video and the end of the song, you will hear a voice memo. And it's crazy because my mother sent this to me my first day working with Tej. And it was just really cool. Like, it really inspired me. I was like, yo, this man can play the piano. Like, the whole outro is this man just like his soul, just putting his soul into it, I was like, can you put a little outro on there and then like plug that in there? And she had no idea that I did that. And so that was a really cool thing to get to share too, because she was a huge part of this whole experience. Both of my parents were incredibly supportive about it. And so this whole thing was just really, really cool because it brought all of us together. We all went out to Chicago to shoot this music video. And it was the first time that I actually felt like a star, and I felt like an artist. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Okay. I could get used to this shit, and I've got my parents there and they believe in me and they're like helping like fund it and bring this together and bring it to life. And I have this wonderful partner there with me. And it's just, the whole thing was very, I don't know, inspiring, And so this video means a lot to me. I know I get really long-winded when I talk about it, but it means a lot to me. I'm super excited to get to share it with everybody. But yeah, this is Imposter Syndrome that came out on my birthday last year. And I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do.
Absolutely.
Expectations are dangerous. Living in a world I made, praying I can make this go away. Never hear a word I say. Am I something to appreciate? If so, why do I hate myself? Why do I make myself bleed?
You can do better, your best isn't good enough. Ain't no trendsetter, a poser you put up a front. I got all of that on you, I know you stuff it away. Put it away, don't you just face it.
Sitting in shame, this is the way you're gonna make it. Boy, wonder why I'm not enough. Wonder why I give this love to everybody but me. What could they possibly see in an imposter like me? Wonder why I'm not enough. Wonder why I give this love to everybody but me. What could they possibly see in an imposter like me? I've been pacing and racing and chasing a dream, complacent and patient and causing a scene. You say I'm bad, I don't know what you mean, cause I see me different, I know everything about me. That's why I doubt me. See the potential, but why am I kidding myself? Everyday living, I'm killing myself. I need some help. Yeah, I need a way out. Put me under a spell, so I can finally see what everyone's trying to tell me.
You can do better, your best isn't good enough. Ain't no trendsetter, a poser you put up a front. I got all of it on you, I know you stuff it away. Put it away, don't you just face it.
Say it's shame, this is the way you're gonna make it. Boy, wonder why I'm not enough. Wonder why I give this love to everybody but me. What could they possibly see in an imposter like me? Wonder why I'm not enough. Wonder why I give this love to everybody but me. What could they possibly see in an imposter like me? Wonder why I'm not enough. Wonder why I give this love to everybody but me. What could they possibly see in an imposter like me? Wonder why I'm not enough. Wonder why I give this love to everybody but me. What could they possibly see in an imposter like me?
I just listened to your song again, and it is absolutely amazing. I cannot imagine what in the world y'all going to do with that song. You be very careful, and you know that your mama loves you to death. You keep in touch with me, precious. I love you. You're my boy, Blue.
And there she is. And there she is. Every time I hear that
That's
last part,
awesome.
I tear up. Every single time. I can't help it. It sucks. I wish I wasn't like this, but here we are. Yeah,
No,
every
I
time,
mean it's we're all about rawness on this podcast,
of
right?
course,
And I think
of
that's
course.
amazing. That's so cool that you were able to add that, and it makes it that much more authentic, of the song, because it's like, this was like something that was true to how you were feeling at the time.
Correct.
And it's so cool to have like your mom on there at the end too. You're like sharing that whole experience. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool. She's just always been like one of my biggest supporters. And it was really cool to like that whole thing. Like I was so nervous going into like the production of it, and is this even gonna turn out okay? Like, am I gonna be able to like show up and show out and all that? And getting that voice memo, oh shit, it makes me so emotional. Getting that voice memo just, I don't know, it really helped me get through it. And I was like, dude, we have to put this in the song. There's like just no question, it has to go in there. So yeah, it was just really cool to get to have that be part of everything. But yeah, I love that video. It really helped me just like ground myself in understanding like I 100% am an artist. I can make music that resonates and that has a meaning and has a purpose, and going back to like what you had said at the beginning, like how like that first song you showed where it's like, it is kind of encompassing like the whole trans thing and who we are and what that journey's been for us. And that's a lot of like, when you listen to this song, like right into the chorus, when I say boy, it's me like saying like you're an imposter, like boy, sit in your shame. There's just no way you'll ever make it, boy, and it's just like me talking to like, and that's why like I did the voice real low because it's kind of like that inner voice, that demon, it's just like picking at you and shit. So I wanted it to be incredibly like representative of what that felt like too. Like everybody interprets it their own way, and everybody that's listened to it that has, it's resonated with them has told me like, well, this is why I resonated, or it resonated with me and why I enjoyed it so much. And it's so cool because it's so different for me what that song means. And the fact that everybody else can kind of have their own story to add to it, it's just cool, and it connects people, and I don't know, it's one of my favorite things that I've done thus far. I'm so excited to keep that rolling and to do some more and put out some more videos and work with more people and connect and all those things. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I do. I think that it was a really cool experience, and it's super representative of like who I am. So I'm proud of it.
Absolutely, you should be.
Thank
No,
you.
it was a killer music video. I loved it. It was set up very, very well. You could tell like it was like a huge passion. Like you put everything into it. I mean, shooting a music video, and not only just shooting a music video, but being a part in the main star of that music video
Yeah.
is not easy. I mean,
Yeah.
like there's a lot that goes into it. I've been around music videos, and
Really.
I did have a say so on certain, like directions of like the music video, like that Olya kind of put together from California,
Yeah.
because I paid for that.
Right.
I paid for the music video. She just went and showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, because that was the only way I could get her to agree, and I knew that song needed like a music video. But it's so cool to be a part of that process, and you took it like way beyond what even a music video like that is. Like from the projections and all of that, and it's so cool that you talk about like the certain like little points in the song, like with the lower voice and that demon in the head and stuff like that. I definitely heard that, and I could kind of sense, like where what all you were getting at with that. So
Right.
I think that was really cool, and it's really cool to be able to see like I don't know, like get to resonate with people's stories.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think you can tell that like I was kind of feeling myself a little bit, and it's like I was saying, like I felt like an artist, I felt like a star while I was there. Like everything was like, and it's, I don't know, maybe this doesn't sound very humble of me, but it was like everything was about me essentially, and this thing that I had worked so hard to bring to life. And it was just, I don't know, incredibly rewarding, and when I watch it back, it's kind of crazy to even think that that's me, like Akash was so great, and I will sing Akash's praises for the rest of my life. He is incredible. Even like the projection thing, the little like hologram of me popping up and stuff. That was just some random thing that he decided, hey, we should try this. Like I've been wanting to try this. Let's put it in there. Like, dude, yes, put a hologram in there. What are you talking about? I want this thing to be like eye-catching and big, and the production needs to be very specific, and he just really nailed it the whole way through. And it was incredible. And all that to say, like, anybody that is watching this or listening to this, like, if you ever feel like you can't do these things, or something is blocking you, or you just, like, you're trying so hard to just be humble about it, just fuck that. Do what you want to do. Like, follow your passions and make it happen, and just go out there and do it. And it's scary and it's terrifying, really, and it's all new, and it's just, like, kind of uncomfortable. But once you get into it, like, if it's truly what you're meant to do and it's what you're passionate about, like, it'll just start to come naturally. You just have to get out there and you got to do it, and you got to believe in yourself. And all of that's very cheesy, but it's true and it's real, and it's hard to be an artist. It's hard to dedicate to your craft, and you get afraid that other people aren't going to vibe with it or like it. Who cares? Like, now, like, when I watch this, I get to say, like, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of this thing that I've put out. And you get to do the same. Like, look at all the work that you've put in to bring something to life, and here it is. And now we're here and we can show it off and show people and share that with people. So, hopefully someone will watch this and take away that, like, if we can do it and we can, dedicate to our passions and make something happen, so can you, and I really hope that people will get that from this, because it was just such an incredible experience to get to do all that, and I don't know, I'm excited to get to do it again, especially now that both of us are working on music. Like, who knows, maybe we'll be working with Akash here in the future and put out some shit and keep it rolling, so also look out for that.
Absolutely. No, I think that would be awesome. I can't wait to, like, like, now that, like, I'm in the right image that I want to be, like with Alyssa and the rebrand and all of that, I don't mind, like, being on camera or being a part of that type of stuff, because now that's me. Back then, correct, I was so uncomfortable with myself, and I was having to speak through little ins and outs of the music.
Right.
When now I can just be blunt, like, if I want to write a song a certain way, I don't have to worry about how is it going to get misrepresented, or is it going to get represented completely right, and then I can't get out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, those are the things you have to think about too as an artist, is that, like, when you're writing this music, you have to get your image that you're setting with each little song. So, I think that'd be cool to, like, maybe even if we work together on writing like a song from, like, start to finish, and maybe it being like a whole project on its own. I think that's awesome. I love working with different musicians. That process, was kind of weird because it was just after COVID. Yeah. So it's like just messaging back and forth and FaceTime calls, and those type of things can be weird from a productive, creative environment.
Right.
It's always better when you're in the actual studio with each other. But I mean, hey, it's really, really fun. And I'm really, kind of glad that you brought up something about what you said, because actually, I don't think so. I think you have every right. When you said that, like, you felt like kind of it was all about me. It is all about you. It's your craft. Right. It's your music. It's all of that. I think you should feel like that.
Yeah.
And that's how you know
agree.
It's right. If that's how you're feeling, and you're feeling like this is all about me, this is my moment. I deserve to do this. I've put all this together. I've put all this hard work. Now I get to reap the benefits of planning all this appropriately. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to do that. That's the coolest part about doing music.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, I definitely felt that, and it is really cool. I mean, I think it's a little bit different, depending on what side you're on, because like, so I guess I want to talk a little bit about, like, the instrumental. Like, how did you did you come across it? Did you work with a producer alone on that?
Yeah. It was it's all original. It's all so originally it was crafted to a YouTube beat. And so I kind of pulled the chords from that. Like I said, I flew out to Dallas. I met up with this guy. His name's TJ, but he goes by Tej. You can also find him on Spotify. He has a lot of music out that's wonderful. Tej is fantastic. He was just so willing to work with me, and just so willing to put his all into it. And we had, like, literally just met. Like, I don't know. It was just very cosmic, So I went out there, met up with him. He just produced it. I mean, I played some chords on the guitar for him and kind of sang it, acoustically, and then he went over to the piano and started picking out the chords and, transposing it and all that good stuff. And it was just like watching him work was crazy. Like he came up, there's like a part right before the chorus where it's like a little bass line, it's like, and he like just kind of busted that out and was like, oh shit, yeah, I like that. Let's like go back to that sound. Okay, let's put it in this way. So I definitely had like a lot of say so, and I was like giving direction, but truly like the actual production of this song and mixing it and all of that goes to Tej. Every last bit of that goes to Tej. Like even on TuneCore where I've distributed this from, we did a 50-50 split, because this man was so into what I was doing that he didn't charge me a penny to produce it. He was like, just fly out here, just come meet up with me and we'll get this shit rolling. And we did. And it was just crazy to watch him, put it together. Like even that synth at the end where it's like, like jumps up and shit. And he's just like, oh, dude, the second he started playing that, I was like, yes, put that in there right now. And he just starts messing around with it. And it was crazy. But all of it just came from this man's brain, every last bit of it. And I think that was one of my biggest things with it too, is that I've done a lot of things to YouTube beats. There's a lot of like stuff I did on SoundCloud a long time ago that's like when I was in my rap era and things like that. And all of it was YouTube beats. And I really, like for this song, I really wanted it to be original and really put in the work to it and challenge myself a little bit. And I'm so glad I did, because when I listen to it, it's like, it's mine. It's my song. It's something that I put a lot of work into. And getting to sit there with him during that process was really cool. And just like watch it and hear it come to life was crazy. It was really crazy. So yeah, shout out to Tej. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. None of this would have happened without you. Shout out to Akash. None of this would have happened without you. So yeah, that was pretty much the process. It was really straightforward. Like I said, I think we spent like 3 days, 8 hours a day, just chilling. And it was so precious because his girlfriend was downstairs and she could hear it, and she would like come in and pop her head in, and she's like, I just want you to know that your voice sounds really good. And I was like, thank you so much. Like, so it was just a really cool experience. And again, it's like the connecting with people, I just got to meet this dude on TikTok of all places, and I took a chance, and I think that's another thing that people need to realize. Like sometimes you just like, you really got to get out of your comfort zone, and some people won't be into what you're doing for sure. You're not going to be for everybody, but if you put yourself out there and you get out of your comfort zone a little bit, you might surprise yourself, and you meet people that are really just incredible people. Like I said, Tej puts out his own music. I think he's like opened up for like the Plain White T's a few times with his old band and stuff. Like he been doing stuff. Like Tej like knows his shit, and he's like super solid on all of his stuff. And he's got friends that he works with out there. Like he was in touch with like Wiz Khalifa's manager, which is crazy. So you make these connections, and networking is everything in this industry. Like you have to network with people. You've got to get out there and meet people and connect. I mean, that's how this podcast came to be. You saw me on a live and you're like, hey, I'd love to have you on. We did one episode, your second episode of the show, and then I've just been here ever since, So networking goes a long way, and it's important. So yeah.
Absolutely, it really does. Because honestly, some of the biggest projects are because of networking.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and thank you for going through the whole process of the instrumental and how that all came together.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important. I think that's cool too. I think that's why I think I talked about this a little bit, but I think that's why I like doing the music that I do, because I am able to go through every section of the song.
Yep.
And I intricately laid out, like a melody or whatever. I did that myself. And yeah, it takes time. Typically for me to do a whole, like, start to finish, easily, 3 to 5 days, sometimes even a week.
Yep.
Sometimes you get, to like that 3 to 5, and you're like, I just need 2 or 3 days because of like this one little part is bugging the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you got to come back 3 days later and you're like, I got it. So sometimes you have to give yourself time. Like you were talking about lyrics, like you had something, you sat on it for 2 years, and then you came back and it just came together like no other. And I think a lot of artists, have like a similar story. And, sometimes you have lyrics and you're like, I want to make this work to something. or you have an idea and you want it to work, but it doesn't. And then when the time is actually the time, it all works together as it needs to be.
Yeah, it's crazy how it all comes together. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite parts of it.
Absolutely. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up there, unless you have anything else that you want to share from your end, or any other content that you want to share.
Yep, I think that's really it. I mean, like, I've got a song called Past Life. It's out on Spotify. Definitely check it out. I don't know if I'm gonna like pull it. It's just, staring at a screen or whatever, but it's a song that I wrote about my ex that I put out on her birthday. Because we love a petty king, it is what it is. But it's a really good song too. It's definitely a little different. It's more, I would say it has more of like a Justin Bieber kind of feel to it a little bit, It was the first time I like fucked around with auto-tune, because I was trying to give it that like real like modern pop feel that you hear. Sometimes when I listen to it, I'm like, maybe it's a little too robotic, but I think it's still really good. The lyrics are really good. So, check that out if you want to. But really, like, my main thing with all of this is just, if you're passionate about something, do it. Make it happen. And sometimes, like you're saying, I sat on that shit for 2 years. Like, sometimes it doesn't happen right when you want it to. But if you're passionate about something, you believe in something, hold on to it, and continue to work on it. Sometimes you got to put stuff to the side, but it's worth your dedication. It's worth the time that it takes to put in. Like, and don't give up on yourself. It's so easy to do that. And why? Don't give up on yourself. At the end of the day, you're the only person you got. You know how dedicated you are to this and how much you want it. And sometimes those things take time. So just believe in yourself, all that cheesy good shit. And keep pushing for what you want, because you'll probably surprise yourself. You probably will surprise yourself. And it's a really good feeling to come out on the other end with something that you're really proud of, and knowing that, like, yeah, I did have to take some time, and it didn't happen overnight, but I worked for this. I fought for this. And that feels really good. So plus I just think it's cool to like get to show people that, like, most of the time we're talking about trans topics and things like that. And this, we still kind of got into it a little bit, but we also do other things. Like, trans people also do other things with their life and have other passions and, dreams and things like that. So hopefully, anybody watching this gets to see that, like, trans people are human, and we have passions and dreams and other things that we do besides just existing as a trans person. So that's pretty much all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Absolutely. I definitely enjoyed it for sure. So I'm sure a lot of other people listening or watching enjoyed it as well. But yeah, I mean, we hardly ever talked about trans stuff on this one. We did that on purpose, to kind of just show that, like, on this podcast, like, yes, it's called Trans Talk Hub Podcast, but that just means that you got trans people talking about stuff,
Yep.
We do have a pretty good range of topics that we can talk about on this podcast, and we definitely would love to hear your feedback. Do you want more stuff
Please.
like this? Do you want TikTok reactions? Do you want the lives? What do you want? We're willing to, bring together whatever you all want to see. But yeah, with that, I guess we'll close it out. And yeah, just stay tuned for the next episode.
Bye, guys.